What's going on, y'all? It's the kid J Nolan here. Hey man, y'all might have thought everything was good between Offset and QC, but apparently it ain't. Okay, as we know, Offset did file a lawsuit against QC last year, basically saying that he paid millions of dollars to own his own masters to his solo material. He went on to release a few singles last year. One was called Cold, another one was like 5 4 3 2 1. However, around the time he was doing his rollout, he said that QC was still trying to get money off of his solo material, which in 2021 they had struck some type of agreement where he was under the understanding he had all the rights to do so. Unfortunately, here in 2023, QC has filed a countersuit and they want his original suit to be tossed out by a judge. So let's get into what QC has to say. P, Coach K, what y'all talking about, man? So according to the QC label heads, they say that settlement that they reached in 2021 has nothing to do with the actual copyright and ownership of the music, right? They said that the settlement that they came to basically allowed Offset to deal directly with Capitol Music for his releases. That did not take QC out of the business. It did not take them out of their copyright ownership. It just meant when he was ready to release music, he could go talk directly to Capitol. He could get his release dates. He'll get all of that stuff, the legal stuff, handled directly with Capitol. However, QC still owns 100% of the copyright. That's right, 100%. That's what they say in their countersuit, which means that they would still be responsible for the royalties, and then they would have to disseminate the funds to him accordingly. Even though they have nothing to do with the music, they have nothing to do with the actual promotion or the releases, being that he's going direct to Capitol to get all that stuff handled. QC still is entitled to the money. Matter of fact, they're entitled to have the money first on all of his solo material. So I can understand why Offset is angry, because due to his understanding of the meeting and the settlement that they reached, he believed that, hey, if I could go directly to Capitol, I should be able to have my money. I should be able to have a complete separate solo deal. Doesn't seem like that's the case. Now, being though that this is his understanding, or that what he thought it was, and maybe Capitol thought the same thing, I don't know. QC is also saying that he hasn't paid up the necessary funds for the solo material that he's put out. Like I said, he released like 3 or 4 singles. He was gonna release an album. I'm sure this is exactly why the album hasn't been released, because they haven't come to an agreement that all parties are cool with. Because I really figured, like, okay, if he's dropping like a song a week, he definitely gonna come with a project, an EP or something. But all things went radio silent. Now, of course, with the passing of Takeoff, I know he probably decided to take a break, take some time off, and focus on family, focus on what's important. I know he's been mourning very heavily, but QC was like, hey man, it's 2023, we going into February, we still ain't got no straightening on this situation. So they decided to fight back despite whatever Offset is going through currently. Now, I just told y'all that they say he owes them money. That's what they're claiming. But they also say that he is in breach of contract for going public with his grievances with the label, okay? So according to the contract that they signed, the settlement, all business dealings were to be handled in private, which is, of course, what all labels would prefer to have. But, of course, one of the ways that you can kind of force the hand of a business partner is to go public and get your fans and people that are watching, spectators, to rally behind you, to be like, oh, this isn't right. Y'all shouldn't let this person go, because now the public perception of the label or whoever's running the label, namely Coach K and P, of course, their public perception gets tarnished. And for people that want to deal with them in the future, it kind of makes people hesitant, because it's like, oh, y'all don't pay y'all people. So they're saying, hey, man, number one, you owe us money. And number two, you went public with your grievances, which is in direct breach of the contract. So now you owe us money on top of what you already owe. So if you really think you're going to get a solo album, you think you're going to do all of this type of stuff, you need to come see us first, make things right, and then we'll discuss what else you can do. They kind of got Offset in a little bit of a chokehold, man. Now, I'm not saying he ain't got no options. They could keep countersuing, I guess. They could keep doing this little song and dance. I'm guessing that they haven't seen each other in quite some time. Probably the last time they all were in the same building was at Takeoff's funeral. But it's just sad to see what's going on with the Migos just in general. It seems like some unreconcilable differences, or at least differences that are going to take a long time to mend, especially when you start bringing in the financial aspect, the emotional aspect. egos, people feeling like they were done wrong or whatever, or things weren't handled in the best way. Not to mention everybody mourning the loss of a key factor in y'all whole situation, because wouldn't be no QC without Migos. It wouldn't be no Migos without QC. So all of these people are tied in together. It's a very sticky situation, and unfortunately, being that Offset is kind of on the outside with everybody, it seems like he's gonna be held back the most, because we haven't seen him resolve his differences with Quavo. Clearly, he has a lot of differences with QC as a label. Seems like he wanted to do things with Capital in a direct situation, which is not going to be the case, or at least it's going to be a prolonged arbitration of some sort, or a court case. So anybody that like those solo songs, he may get the right to keep releasing singles long as they get paid. But it's just looking like he in a pickle, man. Cardi, it's about time to start releasing songs, get some singles out, do a project, put Offset on half the project or something, because the Offset fans ain't finna get no music, man. It ain't looking like that. So the only way out is to do something with Cardi. Cardi, it's time to put your album out, feature your husband on the album on half the project. It sounds like they got my boy in the Locks deal right now, man. It's kind of sad. I hate to see it, and I hate to see anything where an artist is being hindered from their own growth, especially if they not standing in their own way. When it comes to the paperwork, man, I really hate to see folks get hustled and bustled with the paperwork. So as of now, there is no resolution. Both parties, or all parties, are claiming their owed money. All parties are claiming that the business has not been right for at least a year and some change. So I'm going to stay tuned to see how this continues to develop. Y'all let me know what y'all think of this down below in the comments. Be sure to like and share this video, and I will see you guys on the next one, all right?
Got my legal hustle, welcome to the trap. I could blow a stack, bet I make it back. You can hit my line if you need a track, but we can't even talk if it ain't about the bag. Got my legal hustle, welcome to the trap. I could blow a stack, bet I make it back. You can hit my line if you need a track, but we can't even talk if it ain't about the bag.